You know what? I didn't start this camera.
No.
I just started it when I pushed the button.
That's hilarious.
Well, we are here with my daughter Brittany in Scottsdale,
Mhm.
and it's her first time driving the Cybertruck on FSD. You haven't done this yet, but you have been driving on FSD just for a short bit on the Model S when I had it, while
Mhm.
we had been here.
Yeah.
And so Brittany lives here in Scottsdale, not far away from here. And we are here visiting and doing things. So, anything you want to say?
No, I'm really excited to test drive the Cybertruck. The autopilot feature is really cool, and just want to show people what it's like. First time experience for someone who's not a electric car vehicle driver or EV driver.
Right. Which you have been a gas car driver for the longest.
I have.
You had a Range Rover, a tiny little Evoque,
Yep.
which sadly, um, yes, we think so, was being destroyed in an accident. So you are actually looking for a new car. It will most likely be an ICE car because you are living in an apartment. But if it works out with you getting a townhouse or a condo where there is charging, you might want to think about an electric car, but
For
that's a
sure.
different story.
Yeah, for sure.
So we have the new windshield, and I would say let's go for the drive.
Let's do it. All right. Does the door close by itself?
It does not.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Oh, hang on. Hang on. You just pick your profile from here.
Okay. Brit.
Yes, that should adjust everything. And I close my door.
Okay.
And then we turn on some other cameras, and then we should be ready to go.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, so well, we're here in the car, and we have set some targets. So first of all, we go in a certain direction. It is a grid system here in Phoenix, so there is more or less just going straight. Not much with turning left, turning right, and so on. But either way, let's try this out. Actually, let's try out if we are getting out of the parking deck here. And one thing you don't know yet is how you turn FSD on.
Okay. So is FSD autopilot?
FSD is not autopilot. Autopilot is the one that helps you on the interstate, staying in the lane. There's an
Mm-hmm.
advanced autopilot that helps you also switching lanes. But FSD is the full self-driving, which means it drives itself in parking lots, on the regular road, on urban streets. It does do turns by itself, signaling, and so on.
Mm.
It also works on the interstate, obviously, like the advanced autopilot, but not to confuse autopilot with FSD. So FSD is a bit more, but sadly on the Cybertruck, um, you only get the choice of either full self-driving or something called traffic-aware cruise control, which means it holds the speed, but you pretty much drive yourself. So that's what it is.
Okay.
In order to turn FSD on, you need to be in drive. Just push the brake
Okay.
and you're on forward, and then you push this ball in. Well, we might need to start driving a little bit. I think it has a few issues
Okay.
recognizing everything
Okay.
because those
Oh,
the
the
light,
lines.
yeah, the light is, as you may be able to see on the screen, the light is almost creating lines too, like a lane right now.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, try to turn it on again.
Okay.
Just push the button. Yeah, there we go. And it is on standard. There are three modes. You push the brake. Don't do
I'm such a newbie.
it.
Okay. Okay. Gas.
There's no gas, but you can say accelerator.
Accelerate.
Okay.
Obviously, I don't drive Teslas.
So don't touch the steering, don't touch the pedals unless it feels like you have to intervene.
Okay. I was worried
Yeah.
that I wasn't gonna read the. Okay.
Again, it's not your first time using FSD, but it's a bigger vehicle right now, and you haven't done it in here using FSD.
And to be clear, when I did the FSD the first time, it was literally around the corner
Yeah.
for like 2 minutes. So it wasn't,
Yeah, it was just, yeah, basically just down the block.
yeah.
But this one right now is a bit more. Nice Rivian. Oh, Rivian and Lucid.
Mm.
I should know my cars.
So is it in sport mode now?
It is in chill mode when you. Oh, I'm not really sure because it's on my profile. Usually, there is a way to set it into comfort and chill. Yeah, it's in comfort and chill. It's a setting that you can have while you not drive yourself, while trying to be a race car driver, or you just want to have some comfort.
Okay.
Anyway.
I'm very tempted to hold the steering wheel and like,
You can if you want to, but
I don't want to turn it
not
off
too much.
by accident. But yeah, like my old habits, of course, you like, they die
Right.
hard. So you're trying to acclimate.
Yeah, which every first FSD driver disengages, like you just did. You know, it's a habit of you want to slow down, especially if you drive in an ICE car. You want to slow down, and the car doesn't do this on its own. You kind of have to, you know, an ICE car just keeps rolling, so you have to apply the brakes,
Mm-hmm.
and so it makes a very tight turn always into the left lane while turning left, just so you aware of it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you basically instinctively want to apply the brakes when you feel you have to go a little bit slower.
Okay.
If you're disengaged, you hear this ding ding sound, and then obviously it doesn't do anything on its own. You have to really take over.
Okay.
So
And when will it disengage when it feels like it can't do it, or like do a task,
it
or
it could disengage because of going straight into the sun. I have this sometimes. It's another subject. A lot of people talk on X. Do you need some sunglasses? Do you have
actually
some?
I have some. Yeah.
Yeah. So here's another thing. You need to also pay attention to the screen. If you look to the side for too long,
Mm-hmm.
then you could get a strike. And if you get a strike, you only have 5 times. I got one yesterday because I wanted to fiddle around with the targets as I was live streaming a Waymo ride,
Mm-hmm.
and I wanted the truck to go the exact same route. And while I was fiddling around, I looked too much onto the screen, and yeah, I got one strike.
So will it see my eyes through the sunglasses though?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
It's using some infrared. So at nighttime, when you record with the camera, you can see 2 red dots. So yeah, even if you have like really dark glasses, you cannot fool
That is so cool.
the in-cabin camera.
So I was just tempted to press on the gas then.
Yeah, again, there's no gas.
Right. I keep saying that.
There is no gas.
Yeah.
There's only an accelerator, electric power. So yeah, this is sometimes a setting with the sun as it is right now, when you have a lot of trees, buildings, and you go kind of a more curvy road or not as easy to predict the path. I have seen that the truck gave me the red hands and beeping for disengagement. So if that happens, then you have to take over.
Okay.
But it will be loud and you would know.
Okay. I'm ready.
Yeah. But you also don't really need to hold the steering wheel. It's kind of,
I know this is so.
you could dance, do some dance moves.
I feel like
if you want to.
could I do my makeup if I wanted to, or
Mm,
if long as I keep looking straight, like that's an art form.
Yeah, I have
Ow.
seen. Yeah, see, you can hit yourself with the sun visor, left and right, like.
Yeah.
No, I think you get used to it, not having to operate, the steering wheel or the pedals, and just sit in the driver's seat and enjoy.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna relax now.
Yeah,
I'm a little nervous because I'm just, of course, I haven't
of
done this
course, yeah.
before. Yeah.
So obviously we keep going straight, and then there's our first target. So I will probably manage a few things here
Hmm.
so that you don't get a strike, which means I would get another strike, which means I might have to drive myself back home, which is 1,800 miles
Oh.
of self-driving, manually self-driving, which I don't want to do, honestly,
Okay.
not at all.
So I guess it's a good time for a question.
Yes.
So if you were to get a strike,
Yeah.
you already got one recently.
Yeah.
How many strikes do you get? 3 strikes before you're out?
5 altogether.
Okay, so you get 5 strikes. And how long is the time period from? Do they allow you to? I guess the probationary period.
Your probation officer will tell you. So basically, what happens is usually after a week, it falls off,
Oh
and
gosh.
it can also be that if you get a software update, sometimes they wipe those strikes out.
Mm,
When
sometimes.
we had been here last time in January, I ended up doing too much, and I ended up having 5 strikes, and I had to drive myself back to Palm Springs. But since we stayed there for more than a week, it kind of cleared it out.
Yeah.
But
That's
yeah,
brutal though.
it is. It's not necessarily fun because compared to what you do right now, it's especially nice too if you
Yeah.
don't really know the city. And looking at the map, do I have to turn right now? Because you don't have a dashboard and you also don't have a heads-up display. So you really need to look at the screen. Yes, you can use the navigation with in 300 yards, turn right or so.
Right.
But still, you have to find your way. And I think FSD is doing really a good job in making that decision for you. So what I
Yeah.
will do at this point here, since we are close to our stop, I will edit the trip and I will remove this, and it will now recalculate, calculate, calibrate, think, and suggest a new route, which means it's pretty much the same. So yeah, we are in the standard profile right now, which is more or less kind of swimming with traffic. It's a little bit over the speed limit. You can adjust it in the way that it really does not go over.
Hmm.
But FSD most of the times um, goes lower than the setting that you have, but it will not go over. So,
Okay.
but there are 3 modes. There's standard, which we are in right now, and then there is chill, which will be more in the right lanes and really kind of a
Like
slow.
coasting around.
Yeah. And then there's hurry, which keeps you more in the left lane, sometimes too often. And I hope you can still hear us with all the AC that we have
Yeah.
going on.
Let's turn it down.
Yeah,
Swipe up, right?
yeah, just have the temperature a little bit less.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, in the end of the day, hurry keeps you in the left lanes. Does drive a bit faster, and it's taking riskier maneuvers in terms of like on the interstate when the exit is coming. Instead of lining up already, it still stays in the middle lane perhaps and tries to aim for a gap or so,
Mm.
which I have seen that it didn't make it. And so you had to kind of,
Whoops.
you know, take the next one. But actually happened in Atlanta at the Spaghetti Junction. It didn't go over
Mm.
early enough, and so I ended up having to take the next exit. If you don't really drive yourself, if you don't really know what's going on, there's no real harm done because there will be a time where you couldn't care less because I don't even know where I am because you just sit in the car and do your stuff that you want to do,
Right.
which I have to add. Obviously, as most people know, I'm from Germany. I used to live in Germany, obviously, but also in the UK. When I lived in the UK for 2.5 years, I took the train to work, and that was actually awesome. I had my laptop. I was able to do some work, and there might be a time pretty soon where we can do the same thing. I can do the same thing right now. I could sit here with my laptop and do something. You still would have to supervise,
Mm-hmm.
but there will be a time where this is unsupervised, and well, you just hop in a car and you say, "I'm going to Atlanta," and then it will just take you there.
That's cool. That's really cool.
Right. I very much look forward to this, but it has to be safe. So, with all this stuff that happens to me every now and then, I'm still not convinced that we are in robo-taxi territory right now.
Mm-hmm.
But the hardcore Tesla fanboys will probably scream and throw some food onto the screen right now watching this and say, "Yeah, we are there, we are here. Robo-taxi is just there." So I don't have any interventions. This is like already ready. Uh, Again, I'm driving a lot. I have already 33,000 miles on this truck, which is not yet a year old. It will be on the 27th of June. So that's a lot of driving. Yes, there was a lot of driving without FSD, but nevertheless,
Mm-hmm.
um, I have been driving at least 15,000 miles, if not a little bit more, on FSD. So
You can confidently say,
I can confidently say for myself, from my opinion, that it is
not there
not
yet.
there. So, but you would have to take it at face value and would have to believe me, or you don't believe me. But I don't really care if people believe me or not.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing when it really counts is if there is a situation where you are supposed to supervise and you don't, and you end up in possibly an accident or so, you don't really want that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I get to take my sunglasses off and like have both hands,
Yep.
wipe the
And now,
lens.
see, you need to pay attention
Okay.
because you look down at your glasses for too long.
So you can't do that.
You can, but not for too long. So you still need to keep sort of attention to what is happening.
So what's that window of time that you have to kind of glance somewhere else before?
That's a good question. I think sometimes a few seconds, and I'm not really sure if there's some algorithm that does increase if you constantly don't pay attention and look elsewhere,
Mm.
so that it happens a little bit earlier. Again, that's something I would like to find out, but
Not to where you get the strikes and can't.
right. So I would probably like to risk one strike, but I already have one. And
Mm.
one thing that I noticed in January when I got the other strikes, they happened way faster.
Okay.
So it's almost like, oh, okay, this dude has a strike already, so let's ramp it up. I don't know if it is this way or not, but for me, the first two took a little bit longer, but the last three were like really kind of, rapid fire in some way. So
Mm.
um, if this one cleared, I don't know. Maybe I will try. Maybe not. I don't know. So
Yeah.
it certainly shouldn't be before a long trip, and there's a long trip coming up again. So as you know, we go back to Atlanta, and in July we come out to Palm Springs. I'm going to the X Takeover, which is now in the San Francisco area in Alameda, at the
Mm.
bay there somewhere. And so I'm driving up there, drive back to Palm Springs, and we might stop by on the way back here. We have to see. So it's another long road trip, and I don't want to risk any sort of non-FSD.
Right.
Which
No, I
is,
don't blame you because this is nice.
yeah,
Having
this
to
is
like
nice, right?
not think about everything. Not you're in defense mode when you're driving, as well as like your office and defense.
Right, and if you, for instance, it's even worse if you drive a manual stick shift, which you have.
Which I love. That's my favorite.
Right, so Brittany knows how to drive a stick shift.
I
So
do.
she is a real driver,
I am a real driver.
which you know yourself when you use a stick shift, it is kind of when you just shift it into the higher gear and then somebody is slowing down and you have to shift down, it's almost like it makes you a little bit angry, I would say.
Yeah,
Not necessarily
yeah.
aggressive, but after a while you just kind of, I don't want to shift. I just did. Why do you slow down?
Yeah, I did all
And
this work and you're making me go backwards. Yeah.
right. And so if you drive an automatic car, yes, you don't really need to pay attention to that so much because the car does it for you. But yet there's still the momentum when it shifts, up, that you don't really have some sort of acceleration or so that you perhaps want or need. So yeah, an electric car obviously does not need to think about this. There's some instant torque pretty much at any time.
Gotcha. Yeah. So when you were saying earlier, ice
It's
vehicle.
internal combustion engine.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't have anything to do with deporting people.
Well, I know that,
Yeah,
but I just like to know what acronyms mean when I hear them.
right.
Be informed.
Be informed. Yeah, that's the typical thing. If you are on a subject that often for that long, you start using acronyms and nobody really knows what the hell you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
So ICE is standing for internal combustion engine.
Got it.
And so we are making it almost to our target here, which is a little bit to a.
A shopping plaza, looks like.
It does, yeah, doesn't it? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
like a little bit. Okay.
All right, do I need to brace myself or like, does it have?
Yeah, you need a helmet, which I forgot. Okay.
My helmet, strap it in.
Which, by the way, I just watched this yesterday. The movie was on again with so. We go this way. The steering has some plastic part. This happens, by the way, too, for whatever reason, either immediately or at some point in the middle of the drive that the wiper is just wiping once. There's no water, there's nothing, so it's kind of like, why are you doing this?
I was like,
But yeah, I watched a movie yesterday with John Cena, with the lottery ticket.
looks like it. Oh,
Yeah, where you can. Is this actually legal to go this way?
I don't know.
I don't think so.
Mm-mm.
It seems to me it was like a one way,
Yeah.
any other direction, and I didn't see the sign. I didn't pay attention, and guess what? I'm not the driver. So if there's a ticket, you get one.
Oh wait, I
So
can't blame it on the Tesla, the Cybertruck.
you could try. Um, so it may actually try to find a parking spot right now.
Oh, that's smart.
Do we have
Versus
somebody?
just dropping us off at the front.
But it seems like you're here, so you have to take over right now.
Oh, okay. So just gas.
Um,
Oh, I can't.
if you have some gas, then yes.
Why do I keep saying that?
Because
Accelerate.
yeah, it's not easy. So I would say just pull into one of those spots here, and then we pick a target to go in the direction back to where you live.
Okay. Oh, is this a street? It is. It's a street and a parking lot.
It's all in one.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, actually, while you do this, I am just putting in the hotel maybe. Well, let's go to Starbucks.
Yes.
That's always a good
That's
thing.
always a good thing.
Starbucks is always good.
That's a great idea, Andy.
We love Starbucks.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go to the Starbucks that is not too far away from where we both currently live.
Okay.
So you can actually, it's thinking, okay. So if you start driving,
Okay.
when it's clear, and then you push the button again, then it should,
We'll accelerate and then
it will take over. There you go.
it's so easy.
Yeah, don't get complacent though.
I know.
A lot of people do.
I feel like I'm on the fence. I'm like, I want to relax and just kind of sit back and let it do its thing, but I'm also like on guard, if that makes sense.
On guard.
On guard.
Fencing.
Yeah.
Look, it's almost like your car.
Not quite.
No, you're supposed
But
to
close.
way better.
Yeah.
We might even go the other direction now on that one-way road here.
So is it going to?
I don't know. We went, we came this way here, didn't we?
Mm-hmm.
So one thing that is always a little bit nerve-wracking is if you need to make a left turn and you have 3 lanes on one side and 3 lanes on the other side. And so this is actually a good setting here.
This is. Oh my God. Oh Lord. Okay.
Yeah. I know how you feel because I feel the same way too. I'm hitting an invisible brake. So it should
And this
come
is a
to,
very tricky intersection.
it should come to a stop here, and it does. And it does. And it should wait, which I'm not really sure if we can even show this. Let me see if I can.
Yeah, I wish you could show them how this
Um,
intersection looks because it's not normal.
Yep, let me film this. So basically what's happening right now is we have all of this here.
Okay, we made it.
We made it.
But did you die?
Did you die though?
But did you die? Did you die
No,
though?
we did not. Is it though? Is it though? Did we make it?
We made it. That was a nerve-wracking for sure.
Yeah, so there's a turn somewhere in Florida which is called Chuck's Corner, which is actually part of their testing. So one of the cameras died, probably overheated. Chuck's Corner, where there's an unprotected left turn on a road where it's a bit like what we call the long street in Peachtree City, where people go with more speed, like probably 60 miles an hour or so.
Mm-hmm.
And you can make it in one go, but most of the times you have to go in the middle part, like here, and then you have to wait for the other side and then kind of turn it.
Oh yeah, okay.
Let me just adjust the steering just like a smidge because the plastic part is vibrating. And there was one thing that I noticed in the very beginning, and I was just thinking, where is it coming from? And it's this little plastic part down here.
What is this?
Which is now making noise.
I didn't notice it till you said something.
Yeah. But then I adjusted my steering wheel differently, and I never had it again. So I was ready to take it to the shop. It was like the first 3 days, it was driving me nuts. It was way more. But either way.
Oh, this is like that dip. I wonder if it knows.
No, it does not. So what I used to do is I stuff something in there. Thankfully we have a sock. Stuff a sock in it. Yeah.
Stuff a sock in it.
Okay. So now we turn.
You just have a sock handy in the car, just to...
Yeah, your mom is always having socks. So there's some more here. Okay, so this is
nervous. Oh God.
And that's the police. And guess what?
This street doesn't have lanes.
Right.
This is a 3-lane street.
Yeah, which it does show here.
Oh, that's and.
But it is not. Is it in the middle though? Is he though? Kind of. It's actually doing a good job.
Well, citizens of Scottsdale, you have to pardon us because.
So when I took the Waymo yesterday, there was one intersection it didn't take. It went around. It made a left turn. And then, came back to the road again. I don't know why. And when I came with the Cybertruck, I went on that intersection and I didn't see anything specific that was kind of a challenge or so. But like this here, without lane markings, I don't even know how they do this.
Yeah.
Why not making some lane markings?
I think they're
Yeah.
Well, they've been repaving for a while. They should have the markings by now.
Yeah.
But the car's smart enough to know that, which is impressive to me. As someone who doesn't, who wouldn't know would probably freak out, like, oh my gosh, would it know how to navigate this street at this point? Because
you just go like this. You take advantage of the space that you have.
Or do I step in and be like, I got it?
Yeah. Let me show you how it's done. Yeah, how much more do we have on our journey here to the Starbucks?
Starbucks.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, we turn left in a second. Um, yeah,
So is it able to like go through a drive-through by itself and like?
I don't know. I never really go. And you know, guys, why I don't go to drive-through? It is kind of like um, you should probably have a camera and sign language, so that I could make myself understood. Most people, when they hear my German accent,
Hmm.
they just kind of freak. They don't understand what I'm trying to say or what I'm trying to order. And most of the times it's kind of order. I don't even know what they say. To me, it's kind of like, you said what? And so I have to kind of guess what they say in order to place my order. Yes, you can do a mobile order, but I like to park and go inside like the old-fashioned way because I'm old. So, and I need the exercise. I don't really need to sit in the car and just get something handed. So, it was way funnier actually when I came to this country and my English was so bad. It was, I had moments where we basically parted in the mutual understanding of we don't understand each other. It's kind of like you just
Just
give
give
up.
up.
It's kind of okay,
Forget
well,
it.
forget it. And then there was this one day when I went to Hilton Head and we stopped in Dublin and Sarah was there, right?
Hmm.
And we went into the McDonald's and we wanted to order something and she responded and Sarah looked at me and said like, do you know what she said? I said, no, I'm a foreigner. I don't really know what she said. I didn't understand any single word that she was saying.
So
So we
you knew
kind of,
you knew zero English when you came to America.
no, that's, well, when I came originally, yes, I did not know much English. I had English in school.
Oh, okay. So it's like,
I had English in school for a few years, like 4 years or so. And then when I came, when I left school in East Germany, I was 16 years old.
mm,
And when I came to the US the first time, I was 30. So you can imagine how much time went by
yeah,
and how much of not speaking English. Well, you speak Spanish, so you know yourself that if you don't speak a language every day, you kind of keep
you
forgetting.
yeah you lose it just a smidge.
Yeah, just a
It's not
smidge.
sharp as you,
Yeah,
of course, speak every day.
right.
Yeah.
And so when I when I came to the US, I remember my flight was from Berlin to New York. And that was kind of like, a touristy flight. So most people were kind of German speaking. And so the flight attendants had been very slow in speaking and very,
Hmm.
nice in a way. And it worked out for me. But then I had a domestic flight from New York to LA. And that was on it wasn't Spirit, but some sort of airline, and the flight attendant was from Texas, and she had that slang where I was just like,
That southern drawl.
yeah. So what do
Mm.
you want, honey? And I said, but I'm sorry, can I have a Coca-Cola? Also, you want to have Coke? Uh, yes. She want ice and lemon in it, but she said it with this typical Texas saying, right? And I said, I have the Coca-Cola. And that was the very first time that I understood I'm in big trouble. I'm in a country where I don't really speak the language. And it was kind of intense. So
Wow. Okay.
that was pretty awesome if you think about it, how it just squeezed itself in there.
Yeah. So the
Yep.
car, just so people can understand what just happened, it literally just cut this car off
Yep.
to get
And
over and make the turn.
that's on standard even.
Mm.
So
Very risky maneuver.
it wasn't really risky. So she's not even
It wasn't
looking.
polite. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's a different form. But then also a lot of people. Well, let's put it this way: you have not been in Germany, which you should, by the way. You need to travel to Europe.
Put that on
But
a to-do list.
when you have to start driving in Germany, you pay a lot of money to get your driver's license. So it's, if you compare this in a way, it's like easily $3,000 to $4,000 that you spend on driving education, which is mandatory, and theory classes where you have to attend a class, sit in a room and learn something in, theoretical. It's not like you get the book and read it and then we ask you and quiz you with like multiple choice questions.
Mm-hmm.
You really have to practice for that. And you have mandatory driving lessons, which means you have somebody sitting like me
Mm-hmm.
telling you how to drive, and you don't start with an automatic transmission. You have to drive a manual,
I like them.
which you know how to do that. But can you imagine that's the very first thing that you are encountering? So you not only
Yeah,
do you
that
have,
was my experience.
okay, well then,
Yeah, I didn't get to drive an automatic first. It was like, here's a hill, figure it out.
yeah.
Mom's pretty.
So yeah, and that,
I'll never
whoever is
forget that
still
PTSD from that, actually.
whoever is watching and paying close attention will ask themselves, hey, wait a second, how can he talk about this with his daughter, and then she says, no, that's not how I learn. It's not like I lost my memory at some point and don't remember how Brittany learned how to drive, but Brittany is my stepdaughter.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a part of her life that I don't know. Only
And that's
you.
okay.
Yeah, that's fine. That's why we go to Starbucks.
Yay.
So
We love
overall,
Starbucks.
what is your impressione?
Yeah, so I would say I like the fact that, I don't know, I'll say two things. I like the fact that there's so much potential to just relax and not just be, a defensive driver.
Mhm.
But two, you have to pay attention.
It's
And
still supervised,
it's
yeah.
still right. It's still supervised. So you definitely pay attention. And I find myself like getting a little nervous. Maybe my blood pressure goes up just like a little bit, maybe spikes, especially when we went
Like
across
right
that
now,
intersection
or right now,
and you see the car trying to attempt to make a turn that you normally wouldn't do.
yeah.
And you're just like, okay. So you have to trust that it knows what it's going to do. But then also be ready to like, but I think, like you said, you've driven 15,000 miles so far
Yeah.
with FSD.
Yeah.
And so you kind of learn, you and the machine are learning together. So with
Actually,
me,
more because with the Model X before I used FSD too. So this is kind of why not going this way.
yeah.
Um, so now it will go the other way, which is funny. It does this all the time when I'm going here, but it is what it is. Um, but yeah, I interrupted you.
Oh, it's okay. I was just going to say that you have to trust that there's another intelligence doing this and what you think is the right thing. Like, try not to override it, but like trust the process that it knows what it's doing to a somewhat of a degree versus.
And it has multiple cameras, so you can only look in one direction at the time.
Exactly.
But the cameras obviously can see what is behind, what is on the side, what is all around. In order to have such an all-around view
Mm-hmm.
yourself, you need to kind of, what was it in the Matrix where you, Matrix where you kind of start moving real quick.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh, okay. I think it's
So
gonna let
now
you
let's
down.
see how. Okay, so you would have to do something right now.
Now I do.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you can push the pedal,
All right. So I'm
and we
stepping in.
might want to park.
Oh, it's parking.
Yeah, and it will not. And so push the brake,
Okay.
and let's take this one.
And then too, my depth perception is totally different.
Yeah,
So
yeah, and you haven't driven this car yet, so
yeah,
it is.
it's trying its best. And this is a little awkward because this lady's trying to leave and she backed out.
Oh, we don't care. We
You're gonna
don't
have
care.
to wait.
We don't have to wait. We don't care about her. So yeah, as the Big Lebowski would say, over the line. Market zero,
next frame.
but not bad if you think
No.
about it. So you would have taken, well, you would have managed to because you can drive, but still you don't know the car.
Yes. I'm a great driver, by the way.
Yes,
If I do
Brittany
say
is a
so
great
myself.
driver. Um, I would say bye bye to everybody who made it all this way back here in the video. And whenever we come to Scottsdale, maybe we do another one.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Cool.
All right. Bye, everyone.